Hello YouTubies, this is King Scribe, and thank you for watching one of my amazing YouTube videos. Right, so we're going to talk about the water shortage. I love this Teddy, oh my god, our world should be about peace and love, right? It really should. And we should all love one another. The problem is, that's not the way our planet works. Right, so I want to talk about the water shortage, the water crisis that's been going on for a long time, the fact that we're really running out of water. Okay, so you've seen all the doomsday cults videos, saying one day our planet's going to be as dry as a rock. There's going to be no water left. They give you certain examples. Let's say, a cow. It takes more water to produce the full adult cow than it does to float a battleship. Well, that's nice. What does that mean, though? What they're actually implying there is that the production of the cow is taking a lot of water. What they don't mention, listen to this, they don't mention that water just goes back into the environment anyway. It's not like the cow's stomach is a big void, a big black hole, and as soon as it drinks water, it never gets back into the environment. In fact, during your lifetime, the 16,000 gallons of water you consume, over 99.99% of that always goes back into the environment. And when you die, the water goes back into the environment anyway. You either decay and rot in the ground where the water just goes away into the ground, or you might get cremated and that just comes out as vapor. So the water goes away. It's not like a big black hole. The water always finds a way to get back into the environment. Now there are some doomsday cults saying, oh, it's fresh water we're worried about. Fresh? That's an interesting word, is it? Fresh. Let's put some abbreviations there. It's fresh water. It's so important, fresh water, that exists in the world. I don't know any fresh water in the world that is drinkable for humans. Our bodies are not really capable anymore of taking in proper fresh water from lakes and rivers because the water there is polluted. And it's not polluted just by man-made substances. It's also it's also polluted by fish poo, by bird poo, by animal poo, sick, pee, you name it, is in that river. So you can't just get a bottle and start drinking it. It gets treated. And there's some people seem to think that there's a big process that needs to be done to filter the seawater. Well, listen to this. What happens in Australia? They filter the seawater and they provide it as drinking water for the rest of the community of their country. So they are providing a service. Of course, I think they should be paid for that service somehow. I do agree with certain people when they say that if somebody's producing a service, they should be paid for. Absolutely. If there's enough money in the world, they should pay for the service that's being provided. I have no problem with that. I do have a problem with the doomsday cults when they're claiming that there's a big water shortage when there isn't. It's all politics, guys. Do you really think that the surface of our earth is 2/3 covered in water? Just let that sink in for a minute, okay? 2/3 of water. That is at 7 billion people who have made no effect on the water levels of our planet. You think they're causing a shortage? Well, what about all the climate fruitcakes who say, oh, we're running out of water, yet they start talking about the sea levels rising? How does the sea levels rise if the water is disappearing? Let me ask, how does it rise with water levels disappearing? How exactly does that happen? They talk about that as if it's fact, and then look at Ireland at the moment. They're covered in certain parts of the land is covered with water. You tell them that there's a water shortage and they'll just laugh at you. You tell some people in Asian countries which have been partially wiped out from tsunamis because of the sea coming in, there's a water shortage going on, a water crisis, we haven't got enough. They'll say it's not the water that's the problem, it's the politics, obviously. You know, they say, oh, we can't filter the seawater. Australia's been doing that for years, and they've been exporting and importing salt. Well, not importing, they've been exporting salt for quite some time. Because, oh, by the way, do you know salt has over 100 essential ingredients for your health? That's actually true. If you put salt's full of electrolytes, sea salt, not the processed rubbish. But if you get if you distill a bottle of water, you know, from a lake or from the sea, and then you put back the clean, unrefined salt into the water, you've replaced the electrolytes lost. Because that's what salt is, electrolytes. They don't tell you that. They just say salt's bad for you because they're talking about table salt. It's a half-truth to distract you from what really is good for you. It's like when they say eggs and all that, but that's going off on a tangent. You know, they always put the smear campaigns and all that about good food, so be very careful. If there's something going on where they're talking about how great one food is, oh, sugar's not too bad for you because, you know, it gives you energy. But salt, oh, you must stop eating salt, oh my God. So yeah, the seawater can be filtered, and so far the 7 billion people on the planet have made no difference to the levels of the sea. If anything, they're claiming it's rising. So you guys are actually causing a rise in water, not a decrease. And then the people who are coming out with these, you know, doomsday cults don't understand basic geography. They don't understand how the sea releases some of the water into the environment through clouds, and then it rains or storms come, and then the water goes back into the land and fills the lakes back up. They don't mention that. You just say, we're running out of water. And also, let's talk about when you actually go to the toilet, when you flush that toilet with bleach down it, etc. What do you think happens? Do you think it just goes into a big black hole and that's it, it's gone, that's gone forever, that water? No. Your water board treats it, distills it, treats it again, and then pumps it back to your taps. They remove all the impurities. In fact, they've been doing it for so long, they're actually pretty good at it. They've been adding some impurities to it as well, like fluoride, but they can easily remove that crap because they've been doing it for a long time. It's not a big problem. In fact, it's harder to do that than it is to process the seawater or ocean water, which really gets you to wonder why they're coming out with this sort of campaigns that we're running out of water. I've seen the doomsday cult videos, you know, the films they're producing, and they're just ridiculous. They're silly. In fact, they're on the verge of being fruitcake. They're fruity, these people. I mean, I won't believe a word they say. Because how does the planet just suddenly just disappear with all the water? You know, just because there's an increase in population. And they talk about the production of cows, how humans are drinking this much water. They don't mention that the animal always, in every single circumstances, releases the water back into the environment at some point in its life cycle. So when it dies, all the water goes back into the environment. And it's not like you're carrying 16,000 gallons of water with you in your body throughout life, are you? Most of that water is going back into the environment as you live. You're only carrying something like 10 litres of water. I'm not actually sure how many litres most people would carry in their body in total, but I think it's something like 70% of their body weight, and that's stable throughout life. So it's not like you know, you go increase it anymore, you go add billions of gallons upon that. No, it doesn't work that way. The rest of it is added back into the environment. And then people say, oh, but the amount of people on the earth who go drink or consume all the water, and then it disappears. Believe me, if that happened, you'll have more problems than just water. Water will be the last thing to disappear. And before that happens, most of us will be dead anyway. So the cycle begins again. It's not a problem for the planet. The planet is not going to run out of water. And you have these people talking about the, you know, the pollution, the radiation, etc., as if the Earth's covered in radiation, which in fact it is. The sun releases radiation, all the ozone layer and all this rubbish. They talk about, oh, the ozone layer is split in half, and these sonic rays are coming out and destroying us, whatever. But It's always been like this, and the water survived. The water's been absolutely fine. It's not just going to, you know, they can filter out radiation from the water anyway. Water is one of the easiest compounds to clean. That's what most people don't realise. They can distill it quite easily and remove a lot of the impurities. In fact, most of them. Nearly 100% of the distilled water is just water. And they can do that to any. People will say, oh, there's a problem with that though. Yeah, you just add some rock salt to it or something, and then you get all the components back that you need. So scientists can already do all this stuff already. So I really ask why they are spreading up this campaign in the first place, because it just seems to me as if they want to create confusion, as if they want to say, oh, there's a big shortage and we're having massive problems, and they provide, you know, people starving to death or something as the main concern. But that's got nothing to do with the water. That's got something to do with the politics of their country. Especially the people, especially these lunatics that are providing these stories, who don't know what they're talking about, who keep on coming out with a load of rubbish. They are actually saying that the water's going to disappear off this planet, but at the same time, they're saying we're going to be flooded. So which one is it going to be? Somebody tell me, which one is it going to be? Because they don't go hand in hand. They don't work together. We're running out of water, we're going to be flooded. How does that work? You tell me, how does it work that we're going to be flooded and we're running out of water? Believe me, water's not the problem. It's a lack of common sense that's the problem. It's the politics surrounding it. They just want to get more money out of people. They're coming out with these. I think most of it's down to the reservoir water, which the elites want to keep for themselves. I think that's what it's all about. I think in the end they'll just filter the water in the sea if they need to do that, but they don't really need to do that anyway. But they do anyway. You know what I mean? They can pump the treated seawater into the lakes if they wanted to. Not a big problem. We've got the industry for it. And there'll be people saying, yeah, but what happens with all the products that are made from water? Well, the environment always gets it back. It will always get the water back at some point. There's plenty of it. If you think the water is disappearing, just swim across the Atlantic Ocean, or have a swim across the Pacific. It's covering half the earth. Have a swim and see just how little water there is on the planet. Alright, you have a swim across the Pacific Ocean and you will really see just how little. Oh, have a dive in it. Go down to the bottom and get crushed by all the water that's on the planet. We're not running out of water, guys. We're just not. I think that's plainly obvious to anybody who's ever had any common sense, that there's plenty of water on this planet. Of course, I do agree with pollution levels. I think we should be treating places. I think we should be careful with what we chuck. We should recycle our waste. I totally agree with this stuff. I know certain people say, oh, it's all bad, we're doing that. No, it's not. We should be recycling our goods. We should be recycling cardboard and plastic. That's absolutely fine. I agree with that. What I don't agree with this is with these doomsday cults that don't know what they're talking about. They're spreading all this rubbish. And all of it's about is to cause hatred among other people. You know, people say, there's too many people on this planet. The 7 billion people allegedly on this planet have made no difference to the water levels. They're actually increasing it. They're actually going to cause more floods, allegedly. They made no difference. Because 6 billion people, or 7 billion, is not a lot of water consumed to the planet. The planet doesn't care. You could fit 7 billion people on a small island that's 20 miles long. I mean, it's not, 7 billion people is not a lot when you think about it in the space they would take. I mean, you could line them up and hold hands and it would spread around the island, so there are plenty of space to live. Maybe not, but it's a thought for some people what exactly is going on. We are being brainwashed into thinking something's happened when it's not. Tell me, do you really think we're running out of water? Do you really think? I mean, look outside, look at the satellite images of our Earth, and you'll see that our planet is covered in water. But you guys are saying that we're running out of it. Do you realise how daft you sound? Do you really realise how stupid and silly that sounds? It's not common sense. It just isn't. And you know, it sort of annoys me a bit when people keep on saying, well, one day we're going to be dry as the bloody Mars planet. We're going to dry out our planet to Mars. I've heard this before. How is that even possible? You've been watching too much sci-fi. That's your problem. You've been watching far too much films in your life that you're coming up with this garbage. When people die, when animals die, and when the industry's finished with it, the water just goes back into the environment anyway. It always gets the water back, and then it gets recycled. There might be some pollution on the way, of course, and we should be treating the pollution. I totally agree with that. But it's not water that's the problem. That's all I want to say in this. I've been mentioning it quite a few times, and I'm going to end the video there. But I just wanted a quick rant, and I just wanted to say my part on this. So if you see this water shortage and water crisis garbage being given out, you can see just what a load of crap it actually is. See you later, goodbye.